Welcome to MCC Made, the official podcast of Metropolitan Community College, giving you a backstage pass to all things MCC with your hosts, Emma Frazier and Catherine Riggs. This week I was talking to one of my friends who's a mom.
And it wasn't me.
And it was not Catherine.
Okay.
And she has school-aged daughters.
Okay.
And her daughters brought her makeup to school with them and then shared it with their friends and brought it back. And now my friend may or may not have pink eye. And
I know this is not visual, but my jaw is so open.
Aren't you glad you don't have daughters right now?
Oh, my Lord.
Tell your sister to be on alert.
I'm also just thinking of like the money.
Yes.
Oh
she did not say that it was like super expensive makeup. I think she was more concerned at this point that she might have pink eye.
That's probably a bigger concern.
Right. So my pick is not pink eye. I want that to be clear.
Okay, that is good. We don't advocate for that.
No. That actually sounds like a nightmare.
Horrible.
Thankfully, her kids don't have pink eye. She's like, I don't know how I got it, but I was like, oh God. Anyway, but I a while ago I was having a hard time sleeping, like falling asleep. And so I had found these disposable eye masks that work kind of like, like those like hot hands, like hand warmers.
Yeah, like where you crack them and they get toasty.
Correct.
Ooh.
So like it's a disposable eye mask that you like wear at night, or you can wear it anytime. But anyway, they heat up. So it's not like super tight on your eyes. But anyway, I'd kind of forgotten about them because, I forgot that I had them.
That's fair.
But as she was telling me the story, I was like, oh my God, it's like, you need to have these eye masks. Like they're not going to put like pressure on your eye, but they are like warm, like a warm compress almost.
Yeah.
And like will like help flush things out of your eyes. So not only health-wise are they handy, although this is not a medical advice podcast. But
no, we are not in any way trained to give anyone medical advice.
But outside of that, just like if you need to relax and not look at your phone for 3 hours in bed like I am prone to do.
And instead have a spa-like experience.
Correct. They are
they
are so nice. I love them.
Oh,
they're great.
Yes.
And like, or if you like aren't feeling well, or like as winter is coming and it's getting chilly, and if you're like me, I can't have my nose under the blanket, so then maybe my nose and the top of my head gets cold.
Yes.
You could put one on your eyes and then your head is warm.
And it's all fixed.
It's pretty nice.
That's pretty dreamy.
It is pretty dreamy.
Pretty dreamy.
And then
see Emma for details on this.
Follow the link in my bio. But then on the opposite end of that, I am prone to getting migraines. And so I got this, it looks low-key like a ski mask. But it's like a compression mask and it has like gel.
Okay.
But it's like not, it has like fabric on the outside. So it's like the gel's not touching your skin, but it's like made of gel. And it like compresses, you like put it on and like squeezes your head a little bit. And you can put it in the freezer for like 20 minutes, so then it's cool.
Yeah.
Or you could put it in the microwave for a couple of seconds and like warm it up. But then you like put it on, and it's like a nice hug.
Oh man.
For your head. And oh my gosh, it is incredible. We thought we lost it for a hot second, and I was devastated.
What a game changer, though.
Truly, if I have a migraine, it's perfect. And like, because it covers your eyes, it like goes over your eyes and like just like hits your cheeks. So like your nose is not covered, but it just like squeezes your head. It's so nice.
I love that. I need that. I used to have one of those, it's filled with like the beans and you can microwave it.
Yes.
And it smelled, and I'm using smelled in quotes because I don't think it smelled like lavender. It just kind of had like a soapy, perfumey smell. I actually wished it was unscented. I would have loved it 10 times more. And I loved that, like around like my neck or on my forehead, but we left it out and my dog chewed it up.
Yeah, honestly, that was what I was worried about for this mask.
It's so sad.
Because I was like, oh my God, it's like, where did this go? But I was like, I didn't have any evidence that my dogs had eaten it. But I was like,
but we know.
Listen, they're terrorists. So like, who knows? But yeah, they didn't. We found it, and
And it's back in rotation.
It's back, baby.
We
and
love to
I'm
see it.
In.
My picks for the week are not any products, but mine are, again, I don't know, maybe it's because it's like it's fall, so then it's Halloween and it's spooky, but honestly, it's just a lifestyle. I love anything true crime. I'm a true crime girl, have always been, and the new seasons of both 2020 and Dateline are back. And I've missed it so much because you just think, like, how do people still think they can keep literally getting away with murder? And then they're really bad criminals. And I just love watching that payoff. But yeah, so there was a new episode of 2020, and I'm not going to give it away, but I've watched, I think, almost every episode of 2020 in the last however many years. And this one had just a little bit of everything. It had some theft, some secret lovers, some murder, some terrible evidence, some
terrible evidence.
Some terrible, like, red herring evidence.
Oh.
I've never seen an episode where an open package of raw bacon was left out to sort of be like a red herring for the police.
Oh.
It did not fool anyone. But that's a good episode. It's called Cold Blooded. So everybody go watch that. And just in general, I love Dateline. I love Keith Morrison. I love him so much. So I will forever, if you need to talk about either of those shows or any any true crime, please see me. I'm happy to discuss it with you. And if it's a show, a documentary, a podcast, let me know, because I'm always on the hunt for a good new true crime story.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one. Another thing, because it's fall, also because football is back. I am in 3 fantasy football leagues.
Whoa.
3. And I love fantasy football. I love it and I hate it because my teams are not great, but it is so addicting and it makes you care about teams you really never thought you could care about. Like you're like, oh, the Tennessee Titans are playing the Las Vegas Raiders. I guess I better watch that because I have one of the running backs on the team, so I need to see if he does well. And it really becomes kind of a weird time suck. But then I'm in leagues with friends. I'm in 2 friend leagues, and then I'm in a family league with my extended family. And the bragging rights when you win are worth their weight in gold.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't understand fantasy football.
It's
not in the sense that I don't understand why people play fantasy football. I fundamentally don't understand. There's a draft.
Yep.
There's.
You're right. You're right so far.
It seems like there's a lot of work.
There is. You got to put in the work.
So, are you like a coach for your team? You're like, these are who I'm playing this week.
Kind of. You're a manager.
Oh, a manager.
You manage your team. Yes, I am a triple manager.
Oh, wow. What's the pay like for that?
Terrible.
Oh.
I'm in no leagues where you win any money, so I guess I'm doing that wrong too.
Yeah.
I'm in a league where you win bragging rights. I'm in a league where you can win a trophy with your team name etched on it.
Oh.
Which I have won twice, baby.
Whoa.
And then I am in my family league where you get bragging rights, which really in our extended family does mean something. And I've won that 3 times, baby.
Wow.
So I guess you could say I'm kind of good at it until this year. I feel like everyone is injured and all my and I have all those people on my teams.
Oh, yeah. I'm not anti-fantasy football. I don't understand it. It's not for me.
It's not.
Which is fine.
Okay.
Brandon loves it. He so when we met and first started dating, it was fall, and he had we met in the fall of 2020. So weird times. So when the football season from that previous season was over, he had won his friend's fantasy football, which does come with a trophy. Now, I don't know if anything happens to that trophy.
It just travels.
I think it's just a traveling trophy. Maybe there's more to it. I don't know. Spoiler, he has not won since.
Uh-oh.
So maybe that's me.
Oh, no.
But
you guys had a good run.
Yeah. Get the attorney on the phone. Yeah. But anyway, so we met and they finally, in the fall of 2020 felt comfortable getting together to give Brandon the trophy.
Yeah.
Yes. Thankfully, Brandon does not like to bet. He is not a betting man. So the other guys in his league make crazy bets. Tattoo bets.
Oh, I don't get those.
Yeah. One of the guys on the in the league, his name is Andy. And the bet was that if he won, one of the other guys would get his name tattooed on him, but with the Toy Story boot, the bottom of the boot with Andy.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And he did. At
least he can kind of cover that and just be like, I'm a huge Toy Story fan.
Yeah.
It's not like Andy in a heart, because then people would be like,
Yeah. Meanwhile, Brandon's like, I'll try for the trophy.
We love that about him.
Today, we have Jason DeWater. He is the CEO of iFix America and the founder of iFix Omaha. He also was instrumental in bringing Reboot Central to MCC on the Fort Omaha campus. Welcome, Jason.
Well, thank you. Very happy to be here.
Awesome. Why don't you just tell us a little bit, because you have an interesting story of how you got into fixing devices and how did you get here, I guess.
Sure. Well, I'm a Texan. I was born and raised in and around Fort Worth, Texas. I was always kind of a geek. As a kid, I would get into trouble because I'd tear apart our phones or any computer that we could get our hands on, always tearing things apart, trying to figure out how they worked, but inadvertently I would end up breaking them.
Right.
And so then you'd have to figure out how to fix it. And that turned into just a side passion of mine. Throughout my teenage years, I really got fascinated with audio, things like what we're doing today, digital audio. And so I began building computer systems and workstations that were really geared for audio editing and music composition, because my other passion is music. I'm a musician from Texas, and it's in my blood, and I never imagined I'd ever move from Texas. It was for a job. So I pursued classical music. I was a French horn player. And
no way.
Yeah, I was a French horn player, and I say was because I haven't done it in quite a while.
Oh my gosh.
I still love music. It was my day job, and that's what brought me to Omaha. When I graduated with my master's from SMU, the Omaha Symphony had an audition for their principal horn spot, and that was a full-time job, and that was the dream. That was huge for me. I was ready to start my career and see where it went from there. And so we auditioned, got the job. I moved up to Omaha, and my then girlfriend at the time, I proposed to her, and I said, let's start a life up here in Omaha. And she was crazy enough to say yes. She moved up to Omaha. This was back in 2007. And I was a full-time musician. I was teaching music theory and horn performance at UNO. I taught French horn at Iowa Western Community College. I had a large private lesson studio for French horn that was based out of my home. And I'd been doing that even when I was in undergrad. So it was sort of my first business. That's where I kind of learned how to organize myself professionally and make a stab at making it work as a musician. And I found it's really hard to do. It's really hard.
I believe that. Yes.
And it got really hard once I started having kids.
Oh, yeah.
So once we started a family, one child after another started coming out. And we had, before you knew it, we had 3 kids, and we had 4 kids, and now we have 5 kids.
Whoa.
And we're up here in Omaha, Katie and I, as a family, but we don't have aunts and uncles nearby.
Right.
We don't have grandma and grandpa. They live hundreds of miles away in different states. And so I found myself out of the house almost every evening, especially all weekend. I was never home. We had to start thinking, what else can I do? What can I do to be home with my kids and my wife more often? What can I do to be a better family man and a better father? And so we started, getting creative. Mm-hmm. What can I do? And one thing that I thought we could do was get back into technology a little bit. And I knew that I could fix these devices that had just been invented a few years prior, these iPhones and these iPads. Mm-hmm. And I'd already fixed a few for friends and family. The first repair I ever did was for my brother-in-law, Matt. And he and I, we were so just smitten by the iPhone when it first came out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He and I both are just very geeky in that way. And something about the iPhone was magic to us. Mm-hmm. You had the answer to every question imaginable in your pocket.
Yeah.
It's like alien technology.
Yeah. It's wild still.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, and that was back then. But the fact that we could read our email, we could send text messages, we could take photos and share with our friends and family. You could search the web for anything. Mm-hmm. That was so transformative. And we wanted it in our pockets. So I went down and visited Matt, who lived down in Louisiana, and we went into an AT&T store and bought our first iPhones together. We were iPhone Twinkies, we total nerds.
Waited in line.
That's what I was going to ask, if you were one that camped out at the Apple store.
Well, it was almost that way. I mean, I think
Almost.
we stood in a line to get in, and it took probably 2 hours to get that phone for both of us. And from there, that's what we talked about, Matt and me. Whenever we would meet up for family gatherings, we were talking about how crazy these iPhones are. And sadly, Matt got really sick just a few years after that. He was battling cancer, brain cancer. And he was in the hospital down in Houston, and his phone fell off his bed. And it stopped working. He couldn't hear anything through the earpiece speaker. And we were going to go down for Christmas to see Matt and see Katie's family and be there for Christmas. And the idea popped up of, why don't we try to fix his phone while we go down there? And so as we drove down from Omaha down to Houston, we stopped in Dallas, and I went into a very early iPhone repair shop. It was on Harry Hines in Dallas, and these guys were fixing phones, and it was crazy in there. I walked in this space, and it was busy. There were people everywhere, broken phones everywhere, and a lot of fixed phones too. And I thought, this is really cool. Mm-hmm. I had no idea there was a whole business doing
market
this.
for this.
Yeah, I had no idea, none. And I go in there, and they asked if I needed my phone fixed. I said no, but I'd need a part. I need an earpiece speaker for an iPhone 3. And they looked at me a little bit like, are you crazy? What are you doing here? So just...
Like, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah, why don't you let the professionals take care of it?
And I told them, look, I'm not trying to start a business here. I'm not trying to compete with you. I'm actually going down to Houston. I told them the story. And they were awesome. They sold me a little earpiece speaker. They sold me some tools, too. And I went down there to Houston, and we opened up his phone in the sort of the lobby or the family gathering space at that hospital. And I had all my, I had my family, my in-laws all around me watching this, and it was so
Like a
intense.
surgery
That's
audience,
what I was
just
going to
like
say. In a hospital, yeah.
Katie's uncle was right over my shoulder. He was very interested, and I was scared out of my mind at this point.
Oh my
Hands
God.
are shaking.
the stakes are high.
Sweating. Yeah.
Because if I didn't pull this off, it would look so pathetic,
Yeah.
Like,
They're going to be like, nice, you just made it worse. Yeah.
Plus, I'm a Cowboy fan. They're Saints fans. The Saints
so you
were
gotta stick
doing a
it to
great
them.
job. I needed to show some value here.
There was a lot on the line.
A lot on the line.
There was a lot on the line.
And everything that could have went wrong in that repair kind of went wrong. Screws, these tiny little screws were falling on the carpet. It was hard. So I kind of gave up in the middle of the repair. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I put the phone back together as best I could. And then we turned it on, and lo and behold, it worked. The earpiece speaker worked, even though I didn't even replace it because I couldn't figure out how to get the old earpiece speaker out. There was no guide. There was nothing to help me with this.
A Christmas miracle.
That
was.
really is a Christmas miracle.
So later in time, I was able to look back and realize all it was that this little earpiece speaker, when the phone fell and hit the floor, it just kind of moved internally, and the little contacts weren't making contact anymore.
Right.
So just the act of opening that phone up, moving that earpiece around, and failing to remove it actually got it back in where it should be. So that worked. And I came back to Omaha, and I decided, you know what? Let's put an ad on Craigslist. I will fix your phone for $40, so whatever it is. And I had no idea what I was getting into. Like, I'm learning this.
Craigslist, you never know.
No. And you know something? A lot of people didn't know that you could even fix your phone or have your phone fixed.
Right.
You know?
They were just like, time for a new one.
I know that I saw it being done there in Dallas, and I believed that I, if given enough time, could figure out how to do this. And boy, was I underestimating how challenging it was at first.
Oh, yeah.
The first devices that did come through for my little home-based business were devices that I had never even seen before. They were a series of different iPod Nanos.
Oh. Yeah, I had one.
So cool, right? Mm-hmm. And so those were the kinds of devices I started fixing, though. And that was difficult. And I had to start building my own guides. It was very exploratory. Like, virtually every single device that came through my door early on was a device I had never serviced before. And it was in the dark ages in the wild, wild west of mobile device repair, where there was not a lot of documentation, not a whole lot of support. This whole thing was sort of an afterthought, you know, the service side of these devices. And that was exciting, because if you found good practices that helped you fix these things efficiently, then it gave you an advantage in the industry.
Right.
That's true.
And so that's what we started doing, is we started focusing on streamlining our repairs so that we could do virtually any repair in 30 minutes or less. That was sort of the whole thing. We wanted to do it fast. And at that time, I was in my home, and I had cars parked outside on the street waiting for those repairs to get done. And so I might have 4, 6, 8 customers waiting if I'm backed up.
Were your neighbors like, what?
Yes.
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 What is he up to?
Yes. Well, there were a lot of
Calling
questions.
the police.
Yeah.
There's something going on in this house.
A lot of people just suddenly had to take their dog for walks, and they're like, oh.
It was very strange because it was not what I anticipated. See, I thought that we were probably going to see maybe 4 to 10 devices a week.
Yeah.
And I literally was thinking about grocery bills at that time. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a struggling musician. I got kids. I got a wife. And I need to bring more money into the house.
Right.
But it was not that at all. It was easily 10 people a day right out of the
Wow.
gate, because there wasn't anyone really doing it at that time.
Right.
And so we would have lines of cars. People would drop their phones off with my wife, Katie. She would pick up the phone at the front door. She'd bring it down to the basement. I would typically be in a total state of stress. Like, I still have 15 minutes on this one. I forgot to put the home button in. You know, I was still making mistakes. That's when I started using guides for every repair I did. No matter if I had performed that repair 50 times already, I would pull out my guide. It was on a piece of paper. It was usually 20 pages long. You remember the days when we would go before Google Maps on our phone?
Oh, yeah.
And we'd have to print the map quest?
Oh, yes.
That's
Yes, when you
Very
fight with your
familiar.
family about where to actually turn.
My dad, my dad sometimes still for longer than most people would print those out, put them in a manila folder that was labeled like 2, and then he would do another one for like the way home.
Yes, that's smart.
Yes, he was very
Well,
efficient.
you just nailed it there. So I had guides that showed how to disassemble, but my guides weren't very good at the reassembly.
Right.
And so I had to start building that part of it too to guide me on all those steps. Don't forget the earpiece
It's
mesh.
like, why do I have 3 screws left?
Yeah.
3 micro screws
Yeah, and then
left.
you're like, oh dear, oh dear.
Hashtag it happens.
Oh, I
believe it.
if my phone works, that's none of my business.
Yeah, I would never. I would only notice if I like moved it and I heard something like rattling in it. I'd be like, oh,
Yes.
that guy might have swindled me.
That happens
But also
too.
for $40, it's like, I mean, yeah.
Is it working but it rattles? Ah.
So I was taking all comers. No matter what was wrong with your phone, I was committed to figure out how to fix it. And people started trusting me because I was showing them that they were bringing phones in that had been ran over by buses. Or
Oh my God.
one of the more extreme cases, someone had dropped their phone in the Mediterranean Sea.
Whoa.
Yeah. I was like, I'm pretty sure I can fix it.
Yeah.
And we got it fixed. We did an ultrasonic bath. We cleaned its logic board. We replaced the battery, and the thing worked perfectly after that.
Wow.
I would work perfectly too after an ultrasonic bath.
Yeah, honestly, same.
Would solve so many of my problems.
It was so overwhelming, though, at this point, because I'm doing these repairs all day. And, my schedule was, I would typically start repairs around 9 a.m. in the morning. I would do repairs until 5:30 at night. And then I would leave at 5:30 to get to the symphony by around 6 or so. And then I would warm up between 6 and 7. And then we'd have shows between 7 and 8, somewhere in there. And I'd get home, 11 p.m. or so. And it was rinse and repeat every single day.
I'm
every single
exhausted
day.
just
I was,
hearing it.
That's a full day.
It was a heavy lift, and it was stressful because we were building something that there were no rule books for, and there wasn't a whole lot of support industry wide for this little cottage industry yet. So the next thing we had to do is figure out, how do we scale this out so that I'm not going crazy. I did this so I could spend more time with my family, not this.
But now I'm a shut-in in the basement.
I was getting really weird down there. Like I wasn't seeing anybody, and I'd get to the symphony at night and I'm just like burnt out, like so tired.
Or I was going to say ready to just chat their ears off. And
Yeah.
they'd be like, have you seen anyone all day?
Do you know what I did today? I gave a device an ultrasonic bath.
One of the weirdest moments was when I did an iPhone repair on the stage at the Holland for my horn partner there, Steve Schultz. He had a broken iPhone. I think it was a battery replacement. I brought my tools in my white dinner jacket pocket.
Oh my God.
And before the concert, I used a bandstand as a little workstation. We replaced the battery. It worked fine. Steve was so incredible. I miss working with him. But his phone worked, and that was sort of like, that was the moment it dawned on me. Like, I'm literally fixing iPhones for my colleagues in the symphony on the symphony stage. This is where my value is right now. Whether I'm a musician at heart, right now the thing I can do that's most valuable for those around me is to embrace this thing and just go whole hog into it. Mm-hmm. So I started training my first technicians to start assisting, and they were high school students. Mm-hmm. So that summer I had my first batch of a crew, 2 iPhone screen slingers, and it was shocking to me. When I realized they were so much better at it than me. Way, way better. Faster, more resilient. They can figure it out faster. And so, I started them off with some simple training, and they took it and ran with it. And wow, we started scaling. So then I needed to hire some reception staff because our phones were literally ringing off the hook 7 days a week. At my house in Millard Heights, we had a phone factory 7 days a week. Even New Year's Eve, we were working till midnight. I mean,
Whoa.
we were working all the time. At its height, we had, easily 6 people at any given moment in my basement focused on fixing phones.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And we were fixing a lot of phones from my home. So this was becoming a problem.
That's a full house.
Yeah.
So then we realized it's time to branch out. And that's when we opened our first store at Cass Court, 76th and Cass.
Yes.
And that is now our flagship store through the years. It's our largest store now. We started off in a very small bay at the corner of the plaza. Then, as we grew into larger format repairs, computers, things like that, we needed a bigger space, so we moved to a former medical practitioner's office. And then we took over the hot yoga bay.
Oh, yeah.
No,
This
who wants to sweat and do yoga?
I've tried it. I gave it a try. But
Yeah.
the heaters are still on in there.
Oh,
so
boy.
you can turn them on. So if you need your team really feeling the heat, you can
my-
crank
yeah.
up the hot yoga heaters.
They're not fixing those phones fast enough. You're up another 5
be like,
degrees.
why are you sweating? Why are you so nervous?
So you can really feel the heat
God,
at
that's
that
my
building.
own personal hell, actually.
Yeah, that is not ideal.
So we actually in 2013 we started building out our first store. And man, when I tell you I learned every lesson the hard way as a business owner, I'm not even exaggerating. I probably haven't even figured out the lessons that I should have learned yet because there were so many hard lessons. I was a musician. I had taken not even one business class, economics class, marketing class. I didn't know any of this stuff. When I need to be humbled, I'll look at our first website. But you know something? It not much has changed from the first website. It was a list of our prices and services. And to this day, you can go to ifixomaha.com. You can find everything we offer, and you can find the price. We quote it up front.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I hate when they're like, please call to find out the price and they just don't list it. I'm like, or you could just tell me.
You're in
Right.
trouble then,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. I'm like, so it's going to be a lot. Yeah.
We have a catalog of 10,000 different catalog items. So over the years, we built out our training program, and that was sort of the gold of our company. We became really good at bringing in someone who had never fixed a phone before, and we would train them from the ground up. And give me 3 to 6 months, and we would have a world-class technician right here in Omaha. And we got really good at that. And we had trainers that could train other trainers. And that's allowing us then to open new stores. And that brings us to MCC. So, MCC, wow, this is crazy. They called iFix Omaha and said, we're working on something really special, the Digital Express Building 10 Fort Omaha campus.
Right.
They said their plans here is that they wanted to offer mobile device repair, tech support, you name it, anything technology. They wanted to bring those services to Digital Express. And they thought that iFix Omaha could be a good partner with that. And we took it and ran with it. We said, absolutely, count us in. Let's build a pop-up shop. We'll call it Reboot Central, powered by iFix Omaha. And we worked out this beautiful partnership where anyone in our community, it's not just students or staff, faculty, it's anyone can come into Digital Express and have their phone, their computer, their VCR, their sound system. It doesn't matter what it is. They can bring it in and we're going to fix it. On top of that, the prices are extraordinarily low there. In fact, many of our services are completely no cost to the customer.
Wow.
There's no charge for any labor or diagnostics time, anything like that. The only thing that has a cost attached is if there's a need for an inventory item that needs to go into that part to fix it, that device. And so that means that where if you go to a store location at iFix Omaha, these store locations are geared to go 30 minutes in and out. We're all about volume. And if you come into an iFix Omaha with a device that needs a lot of diagnostics, let's say you have a 10-year-old tower PC that is really important to you. You have data on there that matters to you. You just need it to work so you can get online, perhaps. Well, if you bring that to a traditional computer repair shop or you bring it to a traditional iFix Omaha, the price to do that job doesn't make sense.
Right.
You're going to pay for a very skilled technician to work for 3 to 5 hours to get that thing working.
Right.
Right? That's not the case at Reboot. So what we have done is we say Reboot is that crown jewel of repair for our market where you can bring literally anything with a chip in it, and we're going to find a solution and get it fixed at a very low cost or completely free, no matter how long it takes us. And we started working with that model and realized this is a training gold mine here. Like, we want all of our technicians to go through here and learn how to fix anything. It's right back to the home basement setup. And we train new techs. And so this started spurring the next level of our partnership with MCC. We realized we have this amazing training center here, this amazing customer-facing store location, bringing in all variety of technology repairs. And we realized we can train people and then use this location as a proving ground for the technicians of the future in our industry. And so we got together with CTIA. It's an association that is sort of the governing body of our industry, of the wireless world. Companies like Apple, Google, Samsung, they're all leaders within this group. And iFix Omaha has been a member of this group for years as well. CTIA, they have a standard called WISE certification, Wireless Industry Service Excellence. We just call it WISE certification. But what this is, it's a guideline and a set of industry best practices for repair, something that was never there at the start. Like I said, it used to be the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
Well, now all of the brands that have been here for the past decade plus, we all came together in partnership, and we basically opened up our book. We said, this is how we train our people. This is how we approach repairs for these various types of devices and repair issues. And then in a big group, we all work together to create a standard, and that's the WISE certification for mobile device repair. But we had this great standard, but there was no formal training program to actually scale out that certification yet at the post-secondary level. And so when we started thinking about this partnership with MCC, and we had this great standard with CTIA WISE, we realized this is the opportunity of a lifetime. Let's build a training program. We'll call it the Mobile Device Repair Academy. We're going to bring it to the post-secondary level. We're going to bring it to workforce development, partnerships, and in time, we'll even bring it to high schools. And this is the shop class of the future. That's what we think.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yes. And it's magical. The first time you open your first iPhone or your first iPad, if you've got that bug inside of you, that's when you'll find out that you have it.
Yeah.
Because that is so cool to open an iPad for the first time. You open it up and you see nothing in there looks the way you would have thought it would look.
Yeah.
It looks so much cooler than that. It's and you can find that moment, that magic moment, very early on when you're working with a new student of this art. And so we built something called the Mobile Device Repair Academy right here at MCC with a 5-day boot camp where we say no prior experience is necessary. You don't need to have any repair experience at all. We just ask that you come in with a willingness to learn and challenge yourself and believe in yourself. Because at the end of those 5 days, if you can believe it, you're going to be able to tear down an iPhone and rebuild it completely. And you'll be able to do it in about 30 minutes. And that's hard for people to believe.
Wow.
That is incredible. So I'm going to ask, but is maybe the elephant in the room for people who are like going through and be like, okay, well, you started this business and now you're training all these people. Aren't you worried that they're going to create a business that then is going to compete with your business?
Yeah. See, that's always the first thing that concerns people, especially stakeholders that have a lot to lose if, for instance, iFix Omaha were to be damaged in some way or our market was to be fractured. But that's not the point here. What we're trying to do is share the American dream of entrepreneurship. We are embracing and leaning into this whole notion that, yeah, we are building competitors here.
Yeah.
We actually are. That's going to make us better at what we do. And this is a community of support. So we are actively engaging with technicians and tech enthusiasts that want to get in this industry, and we tool them up. Not only do we train them how to do it, but we give them all the tools they need and all that logistical support going forward. For instance, we have a store downtown Omaha that isn't open to the public yet. It's because that is going to be a student-led entrepreneurial store
Oh,
Wow.
under the iFix Omaha brand, but that's going to be operated by entrepreneurs. And they're going to experience the American dream of running your own business and the nightmare of running your own business.
Yeah. They get to
I can't
see
wait
it
for
all.
that. Yes. But the barrier to entry is typically insurmountable in so many business situations. In our industry, first of all, you have to have people coming through your door to start your business. If you
Right.
don't, you're not making revenue and you can't build your team, you can't build your catalog, and you can't learn what you're doing. So the first thing we're doing is we're sharing the brand. If you have an iFix Omaha store, there's going to be plenty of people coming through the door. So that part is fixed. But what about all the other, like for instance, your inventory? Like, are you really going to drop $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 up front for something completely at risk, which is your inventory? We're taking that out. We're saying your store is stocked. You've got all the inventory you need. You've got a point of sale. You've got your brand. You've got your alarm system. You've got all the phone systems, the computer system. You walk in that store, it's ready to go for business. And you've got someone there helping you whenever you need it. So we're supporting entrepreneurs. But not only that, we're getting a lot of people jobs in the marketplace too. And these are the best technicians we've ever worked with. The technicians that go through our academy are bar none the most successful technicians right out of the gate we've ever had. It used to be on your first day on the job at iFix Omaha that you were going to learn that business from the ground up, and it would take 3 to 6 months. A lot of things can happen over those 3 to 6 months, though. You may find that this job isn't for you. You may find that you don't enjoy communicating with customers all day long. You may find that you don't like broken glass going into your fingers.
Fair point.
And these are all fair, right?
Yeah.
Well, we get that out of the way early on now in our boot camp.
Right.
They get a full deep dive of this industry. They learn the science first. So before they ever start fixing a phone, they learn about the anatomy of a smartphone. They learn all of the components that go into it. They learn about the connectivity and the various means that these devices communicate to one another and towers and other systems, how we share data with these and how we protect customers' personal information, how we safely handle lithium-ion batteries, proper ESD protection to make sure we don't shock these phones to death when we're opening them. We do all that first. And then we have an exam. It's a knowledge-based exam. And that's WISE Level 1 certification. We have that in the second day of our academy. And then from that point on, everyone who's past that point, they then go into the hardware side where they spend the rest of the week just fixing phones all week. They're fixing dozens of phones and getting that experience. Because the first phone you tear down, that could take you hours, straight up hours.
Yeah.
And you're going to make tons of mistakes. And it can be distracting. It can be frustrating because you can lose yourself during that repair process. It's a lot of steps. So we have a teacher working with you at every step, making sure you're comfortable. And then once you get through that first one, you find that the second one takes half as long. And then the next one takes half as long. And by the end of the week, you actually can do these phones pretty quickly. And so when they come in to iFix Omaha now as an intern in our program, which our program offers internships, these are at hiring partners across Omaha, not just iFix Omaha. But when you come in for your first day, you're ready to go. There's not a 3 to 6 month period where you're ramping up. You can fix a customer's iPhone on day one. Now, you still have to learn the customer service standards for that brand and everything else.
Right.
But it's unlocking employment in the tech field.
So really, it's like a week of training, and then you'll be in an internship ready to go doing the work.
Yes, a 10 to 12 week internship. Now, the majority of our staff is composed of graduates from the academy. We have graduates from the academy working similar posts at similar companies throughout the Omaha Metro. We also have graduates that have started their own businesses in mobile device repair. And this program is, we're talking less than 2 years old, and it's already making this kind of impact.
Yeah.
It's transformed many lives. It's improved many businesses. and it's made repair more accessible not only to technicians with the dream, but for customers that need the repair services that weren't typically offered. For instance, Reboot Central here at MCC. Over 90% of the customers that we serve at Reboot Central are customers that we have never serviced before in the 10 plus years of iFix Omaha being a brand. So we're bringing repair to people that haven't been able to enjoy repair services for all of these years. It's all about bridging the digital divide, I think.
Right. So like to bring in your device to the Reboot Central on the Fort campus, Building 10, you don't need an appointment for that.
No.
You just walk in with whatever device you have, and they'll do their best to fix it for you.
Yes, and you would be shocked at what comes in.
You said a VCR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's making me think someone has brought in a VCR.
Yep. We see record players. We see
That I
car
believe.
stereos.
Car stereos.
Yeah. We see walkie-talkies. We see all
That
manner
could
of
be
things.
my dad that brought in walkie-talkies.
Yes, of course.
It wasn't, but it could be.
I keep thinking my husband has a PC, like a tower, but something is not working. And he's like, I just need to bring it in. I was like, if you don't bring this in and get this off of our desk, I'm going to lose.
I'm on edge.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my question about a VCR. I'm still hung up on the VCR. Do the students know what a VCR is?
Oh, man. There are some iPhones they don't know yet.
Dear.
These things have been around for a long time.
They weren't born yet.
Oh, man. And then is that when you're like, you get out your walker and you're like, it's time to go home?
Get a load of this. And yes, I feel very old in this industry because I remember the dark days of fixing things that were like 5 times the size of the devices we're fixing now.
Right.
But here's something cool. There's a lot of carryover skills with learning how to fix a smartphone. And this is what we have found is that if you can fix an iPhone, you can fix a coffee maker that breaks at home. You can fix just about anything with a chip in it because they're on the inside, they're all kind of the same.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And once you kind of learn how these devices, most of these devices that you'll have in your home or in your pocket, if you look at them closely, I challenge you to look at them and just ask yourself, how would I open this if I needed to get on the inside?
Well,
I have thought that with my coffee maker, I'll be honest. When it says it needs cleaning, I have thought that.
I typically look at that and go, well, that's none of my business.
Yeah.
That seems too,
None of your business.
that seems too personal.
Yeah.
Too personal with my coffee maker.
If there's a listener right now that's ever said, I want to know how to open these things, those are the people that would love this field. Those are the people. If you love opening things and you may not be good at putting them back together, that's where I can come in. We can show you how to put them back together safely.
That's the tough part. Opening it up, I would think, is then easy. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh no.
And again, those 3 lousy screws that you're like, oh, well, don't know where those came
Got
from.
a shimmy to it now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So then the other piece of that is that people can also bring in devices that they no longer want.
Yes,
Correct?
that's right. We have a donation program. This program is getting, oh my goodness, so many laptops, so many tablets, so many phones into hands of those that need them. For school, typically, but really any walk of life that, we don't ask a lot of questions as to, why do you need the device? It's more, what do you want to do with the device so we can make sure we get a device to you that actually will do what you need it to do. So if you need a laptop so that you can get on and do Google Classroom work for school, well, we're going to make sure we find you a really great laptop that can do Chrome really well for Google, for instance.
And that would be no cost to whoever needs it, correct?
That's correct.
So are there specific kinds of devices that you are looking for when people, like that people don't use? Like, is it mostly laptops, iPads, cell phones?
You just nailed it. So, if you have a laptop at home, if you have an old iPad you haven't touched in years, or you have a phone that you're not using, it is tremendously valuable for those that need it. And I would encourage you to consider bringing it in for a donation.
I'm already mentally thinking of things I have sitting at home that could be better used for someone else because they are just gathering dust in my house. So.
Sam's old iPod.
No. That will outlast us all, probably.
So is there like a threshold of like, say I have an iPad from 2011. Is that too old?
Even if it's too old to safely browse the web, and if it's too old to use the latest software, I would argue it's still very valuable as a training device for those learning. And it's very, very valuable to have these older devices for training. So if you're in doubt, if you think, oh, no one would even want this, I would challenge you and say, oh, yes, they do. They will need it to learn with, if nothing else. It's going to have value. Don't throw it away. Don't leave it in the drawer. Bring it to an iFix Omaha, and we'll take care of it from there, and we'll make sure it's well used. Whether it's a donation device that someone uses daily or it becomes a test device for training, it's going to go to a good cause.
Does it have to be Apple?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not
That's
at all.
what I was curious about.
It can be a Chromebook, a PC, a MacBook, iMac, any old tower even. And a lot of our customers use that as a trade-in service. So what they'll do is they say, I've got this old laptop. I would like to donate this laptop to the program, but I don't want the hard drive to go. I want to keep the data on that hard drive. So that's no problem for our techs. We'll pull that hard drive out. We'll give you, they call it a little toaster. It's a device where you can it looks like a toaster. You can put that hard drive into that little toaster, and then that hard drive can plug into your new computer, and you have all that data safely.
Oh, yeah.
So we do that a lot for these donations as well. Before we say goodbye, I'd also like to just commend MCC for their innovative leadership. I mean, this is a large organization, and typically I would not expect cutting-edge innovation and leadership from an organization this size and with this kind of brand that's been here forever. This has always been a pillar within our community. But what I did not expect and has just blown my mind is how innovative they are. They like to jump in and push the envelope here.
Yes.
The leadership and the staff across the board, everyone here likes the challenge. Like they lean into it.
Oh, yeah.
And I can tell you this, I work in a high-tech industry, and I'm seeing, through partnership with MCC, shaking up an entire tech-based industry. I mean, where is the innovation in our industry? It's right here in Omaha. And it's because MCC called us. This was an endeavor that MCC got rolling.
Yeah.
And the entire industry now is looking at what we're doing at Omaha, and they're saying, how do we do this in our community? That MCC has a great team of leadership, great minds, and executors, people across the board that just get it done. It's like it's a dream come true working with this organization. So I'm just so thrilled at what we're doing. We're doing a lot of things that have never been done. In fact, everything we're doing literally has never been done.
Yeah.
Everything.
I mean, of course, that's nice to hear as some people who work here.
Yes.
Of course, like we feel that way. And so it's nice to know that that is translating to the community, to our business partners. I feel like since I've been here, and Catherine, you can speak for yourself, but I feel like everything really is community and student focused, and what will bring what will benefit our students, what will benefit our community, and how do we meet that challenge?
Yes. And
That's
it's
the
been
mission.
that way. And I've been here for almost 8 years, and it has always been that way. And it just continues to evolve. But that's always still like the end goal is to deliver. I mean, it's our mission statement is to delivering relevant education to a wide variety of students.
Nailed it.
Yes.
There's a lot of fire in the belly of the people I work with at MCC. Every time I work with a department head or a curriculum designer, it doesn't matter. Across the entire staff at MCC, you're talking to someone who's on fire for what they're trying to get done. And the job is hard, by
Yeah.
the way, really hard.
Yeah.
These folks are doing really hard things. They work tirelessly. They are working crazy hours, and they're achieving big things that are changing industries in high-tech spaces right here at Ford Omaha and across the whole system of MCC. I mean, it's a dream come true to work with an organization like that.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun.
Obviously, we love it.
Obviously, we love it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in, Jason. This was
Thank you
so
both.
informative.
And it was super fun.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Thank
was
you very
great.
much.
Thanks.
Yes.
Want to learn more about Mobile Device Repair Academy? Give us a call at 531-622-2000. Need your device repaired? Go to mccneb.edu/Reboot Central for hours or to book an appointment. Walk-ins are welcome. MCC Made with Emma Frazier, Catherine Riggs, and Tim Clark. Produced by Emma Frazier. Executive produced by Nanette Rodriguez. Production support by Herdat. Got a question for us? Email mccmade@mccneb.edu, and your question may be answered on a future podcast.